Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wonder why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win. Hey partner.
Close your eyes and listen to the Tonight, the drivers of the Mythic Metals Truck Series presented by Spark Racing League are gonna have a monster of a race at the Monster Mile. We're racing tonight at Dover for the Mythic Monster 125, and we'll have all the action tonight live on Slingshot Racing Media. I'm Sky Shrek. I'm joined up here in the booth by Logan Threlkeld and Kobe Jordan in the production truck. Logan, what makes Dover a monster of a racetrack?
Well, of course, Miles the Monster is what makes it that way. Of course, we have that famous statue here at Dover of Miles. I'm sure we'll see it here on the camera in the next couple of pans. But overall, it's the difficulty of driving this track. It is a 1 mile short track here, and it's got some pretty high banking. Not quite as extreme as Bristol Motor Speedway, but 24 degrees of banking here at Dover. But what makes it unique is the 9 degrees of banking on the front and the back stretch. That creates a self-clearing racetrack, so all the potential wrecks that we will see tonight will very much end up at the bottom of the track. That's what that means to be self-clearing. You won't see a whole lot of debris up in the way on the top groove of the track. It all works its way down to the bottom.
And yet we can still have some really big accidents here because of how narrow this track is. There's not really a lot of space to work, so if something happens right in front of you, it's super easy to pile into it around this 1 mile concrete bowl. We're going to take a look at the schedule here, as this is our second to last race of the season in the Mythic Metals Truck Series. We've been to Daytona, Rockingham, Pocono, Kentucky, Milwaukee, Talladega, Portland, and last week Auto Club, but we've only got 2 left. Tonight at Dover, and next week the finale at Homestead. And these are going to be 2 amazing races, in part because of how close the points battle is coming into tonight. Taking a look at our points, it's going to be Derek Smith still out front, maintaining that lead he's held for a lot of the season, but with a 3rd win of the season last week at Auto Club for your second place driver there, Levi Cox, he's cut that gap down to just 5 points in the standings. Evan Pienta sits 3rd right now with Rye Jones in 4th, and it was a devastating race for some of these cars like Chris Smith last time, who fell all the way down the point standings after bad nights out at Auto Club. Braxton DeWeese sits in P6 with Chase Berry in 7th, Brandon Ayers in 8th, James Danforth 9th, Chris French and Brian Brote sit there tied on 220 points for 10th, and Johnny Rapp sits in 12th. So we've got about 5 cars there, I would say, from about Derek Smith through Chris Smith in the championship fight. But all eyes are going to be on that battle in the top 2 between Derek Smith and Levi Cox. And looking at the qualifying order right now, one has had a substantially better time in qualifying than the other. We're going to send it down to the national anthem when we come back. You'll find out which of those drivers is on the front row, and we'll have the full race for you. Stay tuned.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
We are back here for the Mythic Monster 125 in the Mythic Metals Truck Series tonight at Dover, and we're going to take a look at our qualifying results for our race tonight. 23 cars in the field, and they're gridding up right now. You see there our Evan Pienta Designs Pole Award winner tonight, Braxton Deweese in that 15 car. Levi Cox, second in points, rolls off in second. Chris Smith will go from third tonight in the 28. Justin Wilson sits to his outside in the 58. Evan Pienta will roll from 5th tonight. Johnny Rapp from P6. Brandon Ayers 7th. Ellis Thomas 8th. Chris French in 9th. Robert Brobst in 10th. And this is a really interesting row 6. 4th place in points, Rye Jones lines up next to your points leader, Derek Smith, who's in the back half of the field tonight. He'll go from 12th.
Not the ideal starting spot for the 66. Behind him will be the 14 of Tony Caputo starting out in 13th, next to the 7 of Paul Hahn in 14th. Row 8 will be James Danforth in the 88, next to the 80 of Rob Liedl in 16th. Row 9, the 11 of Brian Brobst, next to the 56 of Jacob Phillips. Row 10, Zachary Mitchell in the 23 machine, next to the 84 of Laura Wiseman. Row 11 will be the 60 of Steve Best and the 46 of Chase Berry. Last but not least, it is the 42 of Paul Thomas, starting out in 23rd.
And we're going to get rolling here, I believe, this time around. The pace car should pull in at a 4, and we'll be lights out for 120 laps tonight here at Dover. Track temp 98 degrees, not too bad. It's a little bit of clouds out here is going to make the temp a little cooler for these drivers. Pit road speed limit 35. You get 3 tire sets, use them well. 85% fuel tonight. The pace car is in, and we're going to slowly work our way through turn 4. It's Deweese and Levi Cox, and the green flag is out at Dover.
Levi Cox getting a fantastic jump on that top line. The 54 gets way out ahead here early on. The 15 of Deweese does follow down in through turn 2.
We'll see if he tries to make an early move for the lead here. That 15 car running a little bit lower than the 54 in the early stages of this race as we work down through 3 and 4. Pretty good run out down this heavily banked straightaway here. More banked than really any other straightaway I can think of in racing. Combined with these turns makes for a really unique racetrack here at Dover. We're going to see who can master it the best tonight on lap 2.
And 9 degrees of banking on the front and the back stretch. I'm not sure if I gave the actual number in the pre-show, but I tell you what, Levi Cox coming off of a win just a few days ago in the ARCA series here at Dover. So he is on a tear right now. He has a good chance of making it 2 for 2 this week. And clean air right now is going to be his best friend. Staying ahead of Braxton Deweese will be key right now for the 54.
Man, these two are gone. 1.2 second gap there from Levi Cox back to Justin Wilson in 3rd. And Justin Wilson is no slouch. He was your Season 3 champion of the Truck Series. He got it last time we ran these trucks. He also got a win a little bit earlier this season at Talladega. He's not up there in the points because he's not running full time, but we know Justin Wilson can be really fast. Right now, Levi Cox and Braxton Deweese are making him look slow out here.
Yeah, they've got a massive lead right now. It could be a little bit of strategy, though. I've seen Wilson play the long game a time or two, where it comes down to who can save the most tire. We do have those 3 tire sets available. Of course, that's starting with 1 on the truck, 2 over the wall. So when you come down to it, you got to play your game right with the tires as well. this concrete surface can really, really chew up the rubber.
That it can here. The lower track temp, as mentioned, will help a little bit today, but still up at about 100 degrees. These drivers are still going to have to be careful the whole way around here at Dover tonight. Green flag racing so far. You're looking back at the battle for 7th as we're door to door there with Chris French and Brandon Ayers in the 53 and the 16 cars respectively. That's French on the bottom, Ayers on the top. In that 16 machine, he's got Rye Jones and your points leader coming into this race, Derek Smith, lurking behind them, with Levi Cox getting a bonus point for leading a lap here and holding a 10-spot advantage over that 66 car. Levi Cox is your points leader as it runs. Derek Smith is going to need to work his way back up there if he wants to get that lead back.
And Brandon Ayers, the 16 right now, sticking to that top line. That's kind of holding back Derek Smith right now. As you can see, Chris French and Rye Jones have both made it around the 16 machine on the bottom. French looks to the inside of Johnny Rapp just ahead. And now Derek Smith finally gets clear of the 16, around the bottom, into the top 10 he goes. Let's see if he can keep the pace and catch up with the top 5. He is all over the rest of the trucks right ahead of him. Rye Jones, Chris French, Johnny Rapp, all at threat right now from the 66.
A lot of hard racing in the early stages here. I think this inside line is the pretty clear fastest line right now. You can't see it too well. We've irised up on the cameras, but it is really cloudy out here at Dover tonight, and that is going to make a difference for these drivers heading down to the end of the race in how they drive. If these clouds were to clear and the sun were to come out a little bit, the track temp would be a lot hotter, and I think you'd see a whole different brand of racing. But for now, it's going to be stick it around the bottom and try to make your moves down there. Find a run down the straightaway and pull to the inside, entering the corner. That'll be the best way to pass around here right now.
Yeah, let me tell you, folks, it is a good thing these cameras do have a brightness setting, because in sim right now, these drivers, it nearly looks like a night race with the cloud coverage.
It does. It's really dark in sim right now. 10% of the way through this race, and you've got the battle going for P6 here. Chris French is going to get that run, and he'll try to pull to the inside of Johnny Rapp. Rye Jones thought he might have had something. He has to look high, and Rapp will ultimately hold that spot. Good drive off for the 52. Will keep him steady and clear up in P6, but he's already 5 seconds back from your leader.
I wonder if that was maybe a late block there from the 53 more than a move on the 52. Seemed like Rye Jones might have had a chance to get to the inside of Chris French, and French said, "No, sir, that is my spot. I want to attack Johnny Rapp first and get ahead of him, make you make the pass on him." It's going to be a long race here. There's a lot of things that can happen. Dover is synonymous for causing some of the weirdest cautions that we'll come across. So far, so good. 14 laps in, and it's good green flag racing. We saw it Monday night as well. Very caution-free race. So love to see a repeat here on this Wednesday night.
And hey, speak of Johnny Rapp there in that 52 car. He's had a very interesting season. He came into this season, and the first few races for him were, quite frankly, terrible. He had a really bad start to the season. He was all out of it in points. Nowhere close to the front of the field, but the second half of the year, he has been dialed in. Started out with a 9th at Talladega, got a 3rd place finish at Portland, and then was running up in the top 10 for much of the night at Auto Club before ultimately finishing that race in 14th. And that's boosted him up to that 12th position in points there, getting him on the graphic by 1 point over Robert Brobst and Jacob Phillips. So it's really come alive in the second half of the season. A 6th place here would be another good result to build some momentum for Johnny Rapp as he looks to get his second top 5 here tonight.
And looking for momentum is Braxton Deweese, starting to close that gap a little bit to Levi Cox. Looks like the corners right now are Deweese's strong suit, at least the entry of them. It looks like Levi Cox getting a little bit better of a drive off at the moment. So Deweese at risk of wearing down the tires with those hard dives on the entry. Be interesting to see after this set of tires gets worn through if Deweese changes up the strategy at all.
Yeah, only time will tell on that tire strategy. I'm still looking at those cars back about 2.2 seconds Wilson and Chris Smith there in the 58 and the 28. Are they just max saving right now? In about 10 laps, these tires are going to be pretty worn, pretty overheated for your top two. Is that going to be when Justin Wilson in the 58 has his car come to life and he's able to track down those 2.2 seconds and get back up to the leaders? Or are Levi Cox and Braxton DeWeese really that fast and really just going to keep torching the field here? We'll see. Still early going and still early in the tire run.
It sure looks like it's already taking a toll on the tires. I'm not sure if you caught that, Sky, out of turn 4 last lap. Braxton DeWeese did get sideways. So it looks like maybe tire wear is an early factor here, although with the low track temperature, I think we're still under 100 degrees on the surface, right at 100 degrees on the surface now. So it's not going to heat up much more. With the cloud coverage, that's going to help out all night long. And it is kind of odd to see Justin Wilson so off pace. I'm going to have to go with the fact that he is tire saving and fuel saving. Maybe stretch out this first stint as long as possible.
Well, right now, everyone's running the same lap times, but if you look at the best laps of the race for a lot of these drivers, Levi Cox and Braxton DeWeese were both down in the 23.2 range. Justin Wilson's was a 23.4, Chris Smith's a 23.5. You can see it on the ticker there. All up and down the field, Cox and DeWeese were faster than everybody else. But if you look at the last lap times in comparison, Levi Cox and Braxton DeWeese have fallen off a full second or more. They're only running about 24.4, 24.5 at the current moment. And the lap times are pretty steady across the field here. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops and if Wilson and Smith, with those slower, fastest lap times, maybe save the tires a little bit more and are able to get some more speed. Battle for 10th right now between Ayers and Ellis Thomas, and Ellis Thomas gets the spot pretty easily.
Ellis Thomas did just lose that spot, however, got loose on the inside of the track out of turn 4 across the front stretch. Brandon Ayers was able to get around the outside, but a dive back into both ends of the racetrack, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Ellis Thomas was able to get back around with ease, but look at this battle behind. Robert Bropes under fire from brother Brian Bropes, just behind the 14 of Tony Caputo, high up on the track. And that's another thing we haven't touched on yet, Sky. Once this bottom line starts, Brian Bropes gets out of shape, and he's going to lose 2 positions potentially. Tony Caputo back around. James Danforth challenging around the outside, but that's what I was going to bring up. When do you think the outside line becomes relevant here as the low line starts to get rubbered in and heated up, Sky?
Might be right now. We've seen a few cars get way loose down on that kind of inside lane, and you're seeing more cars start to move up the racetrack. Great battle up here for 12th. Tony Caputo was right on the bumper of Robert Bropst entering that corner. And we'll see if he can get a run here. That 14 looks to be a little faster. They're both wiggling a bit out of 2, but Caputo now has the look down to the inside. Doesn't look like anything will come of it as we exit turn 4. The 5 of Robert Bropst still holds that lead. And one thing I'm watching up front is that Braxton DeWeese is falling off. He's now 7/10 back of Levi Cox. I think his tires are finally starting to go.
Yeah, it's about that time as Braxton DeWeese has tried to play keep up, rather, with Levi Cox and really starting to show. And I think as you can see here on the screen in the corners, that low line, that dark strip is that rubber being laid down. You'll see it get even darker as the race progresses. Still very early, not even 30 laps in just yet. And you'll see it. It'll start to be more and more apparent here, but you'll also see it start to spread out as these drivers move up the racetrack. We're seeing it right now behind Robert Bropst. Tony Caputo seems to get a good run off the bottom, but he's going to get a little bit sideways. Still almost catches up to the door of Bropst, sends it down to the inside. But here comes that speed with the outside line. Caputo holds on. Bropst into the wall, out of 2.
A lot of drivers.
Lose 2 positions.
Yeah, a lot of drivers, including Bropst, are starting to have problems now. Lap time fall off through the field is at about 1.5 seconds, and you're seeing Caputo get loose. You're seeing Bropst get loose. It's a problem all through the field, and once you get loose once, like Robert Bropst has, it overheats the tires, and it makes it that much easier for you to continue to get loose off these corners like the 5 is. He's into the fence there again. Major issues for that 5-car Robert Probst right now. He is free falling through the field, and he's going to bring it down pit road. First car in on lap 31.
Narrowly avoiding those pit barrels. That would have been a race ender if he would have put that right front into one of those. That is an immovable object versus an unstoppable force. The 5, the Kellogg's machine, will bring it down here. Let's see. Another battle starting to form. Ellis Thomas has caught up with Derek Smith here for the 9th place position. Battle just inside of the top 10. Thomas to the bottom line. Derek Smith will woe up just enough for the 8 to get around. Looks to make a charge down the backstretch, but can't quite get back to the back bumper. Ellis protects the bottom. Derek Smith nowhere to go just yet. We'll see if that door opens up momentarily, though, coming across the front stretch.
Yep, as mentioned there, Derek Smith sitting in 10th. He needs to be higher. He is the points leader coming into this race. I imagine he's on that saving strategy that a lot of guys like Justin Wilson and Chris Smith seem to be on. But he hasn't been able to shoot through the field yet, and as time in this tire run, I think, is starting to kind of hit a peak here, where we're seeing a lot of cars really start to slide. This should, in theory, be the time that the 66 comes alive, but it's just not happening. He continues to struggle out there on track.
I think at this point, Sky, we're going to see majority of this field come down on lap 40. Levi Cox, Braxton Louise, they might try to extend it a couple laps, but I think the tire fall off that they are experiencing would be far greater than go ahead and putting on fresh tires with the rest of the field. You're going to lose a lot of ground versus what you could make up at the back end of the run. But I would expect to see most of them come down here at lap 40, then lap 80. I don't think these tires can take much more.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. With the lap time fall off at probably like 1.7 seconds now, it's going to be a big advantage to come down pit road in any lap that you're able to get, or any lap that you're able to get on newer tires is going to be a big advantage in the short term here, because you're going to be able to pull a really big undercut. Robert Probst, by the way, has been sitting in the pits for 1:45 seconds. He's 5 laps down. His night might be over in that 5 car. We'll see if anybody else has some more issues there, some more contact with the wall, and maybe does something similar to that 5 car. For now, we stay caution-free, we stay green, but you can see cars right there like the 11 of Brian Probst are really starting to get squirrely.
Yeah, when it comes to the lap time fall off with the tires, I'm not even concerned about that. I'm concerned about the handling of these trucks right now, as you're seeing well over half the field getting extremely loose on exit. You know, it's only a matter of time before it starts to get loose on entry, as the 8 of Ellis Thomas sends it on the inside of Rye Jones. That's going to be a good move right there. Ellis Thomas up to the 8th position. Jones back to 9th now for the 91. Tires are struggling for Jones. Ellis Thomas making the best of it in this late run.
He's been one of those drivers who saved at the start of the run, and Ellis Thomas did a great job of it as he slowly moves his way up through the field here. 8th at the present moment. Justin Wilson is closing in on Braxton DeWeese. That gap was about 2 seconds a while back. It's only down to half a second now. The 58 car running faster lap times every time around. He was a 10th and a half faster that last lap, and Justin Wilson is really starting to get there. The question now becomes, is this a 2-stop race or is this a 1-stop race? If it's a 1-stop race, we'll see stops around lap 60. But if these drivers want to try the 2-stop, the window is very much open for that. We'll see what they do. I'm not going to say this will happen, but if Braxton DeWeese gets passed by Justin Wilson, might see a pit stop out of him in response.
That would make the most sense to me. DeWeese needs to recognize the fall-off that he's got on the truck right now. Is Braxton DeWeese had a gap of 2.2 seconds right on the back bumper of Levi Cox over Justin Wilson. Now at threat of losing that number 2 position. I don't know. The 2-stop, it's risky if you have a handful of drivers that can hold on to the tires for 60 laps, but at the same time, Braxton DeWeese, he's got the speed week after week to do it.
He does. If we do end up going 60 laps on a run, this does end up being a one-stop race. I think you're going to see a lot more focus here on some of these cars who have saved tires, like, you see him on the inside there, the 46 of Chase Berry, getting around Tony Caputo there for that 13th position and making it look pretty easy there in that 46 car. Got a couple battles all over the track here. Ellis Thomas trying to find another victim there in 8th. He's working on Chris French in the 53 car as he continues his charge through the field. He's been one of the fastest cars in the field almost every time around, especially over these last 10 laps or so. So Ellis Thomas has really found something on this tire-saving strategy. Internet issues for Chris French there might concern Ellis, but he's not able to get clear through turn 2.
Keep an eye on that 53 machine as now Derek Smith is caught up to Rye Jones. He's going to stay right on the back bumper down through 3 and 4. I don't know, it's hard to say. At this late in the run, you're not going to see a whole lot of side-by-side action unless you're the 8 of Ellis Thomas. Not afraid to send it on the inside. Chris French a little loose on the outside, a little love tap to the exit of turn 2. I think that's going to be it here for the battle between the 8 and the 53. Ellis Thomas able to get clear out of 4 down the front stretch. He goes into turn 1 safe and sound.
And simultaneously, as they were doing that, Derek Smith got around Rye Jones for P9 too. So synchronized passes. We'll see if that 66 can finally start to find his way back through the field here, or if he's going to continue to sit in this 8th or 9th position. I think that's one car that is going to be begging for a caution at some point to try to make some changes, mix up the strategy, because you see how loose he is off the corner there. He needs a much better night than this if he wants to make his life easier going into the championship race at Homestead. The gap between Justin Wilson and Braxton DeWeese back up front starting to stabilize a little bit, down at about 2.5 tenths of a second there. And one thing interesting about this battle is that Justin Wilson is not really gaining time on Levi Cox. That 54 car is out to lunch.
Yeah, that's one thing that these drivers need to keep in mind is, you know, you might be in save mode. I'm seeing Braxton DeWeese. He's able to keep Justin Wilson at bay right now. He's sticking around that 2 to 3 tenths of a second difference. So I think DeWeese is actually toning it back a bit. He's going to try to extend this out to that 60 lap. He's only got 11 more to do it. So, you know, it makes sense, but at the same time, Levi Cox is on cruise control. He doesn't have to burn up his tires any more than anybody else on the field. So he's just playing it safe right now, as that's going to extend out to now 2 seconds of difference between first and second place.
And it helps that we've hit a little bit of a tire plateau here over the last 10 laps. Fall off has kind of started to stagnate a little bit. It's still getting worse, but it's not dropping off at the same rate it was before here. So a lot of drivers are running pretty similar lap times right now. We've seen Cox, DeWeese, and Wilson be pretty close across the board. In fact, there was only 1/1000th of a second separating Braxton DeWeese and Justin Wilson that last time around. So we'll see how this plays out, but right now DeWeese is looking to stay ahead of Wilson, just off kind of less fall off here as we approach what'll probably be the end of this tire run around lap 60.
Be interesting to see if Justin Wilson can get around Braxton DeWeese before that. I think that'd be huge for the 58. It'd be very tough for the 15 to try to navigate back around Justin Wilson on the second stint. I don't know. A lot of things can happen here at Dover, as we're going to see one way down on the racetrack here. That's behind Paul Hahn and Robert Probst. That is... well... can't seem to find it. Maybe the 23 of Zachary Mitchell.
We're not too far off from some of these cars, like Zachary Mitchell, Laura Wiseman at the back of the field getting lapped potentially. 19-second gap between Levi Cox and your last 4 cars on the lead lap: Mitchell, Wiseman, Vest, and Phillips. I think if anyone's going to try a pit stop, it would be maybe a little advantage to get off strategy if you're one of those cars at the back, because you are going to need to try something here if you want to not get lapped. Battle going for P11. James Danforth side by side with Brandon Ayers. He gets that spot easily, but he's sliding up the racetrack, and that'll open the door for Chase Berry to get a 2-for-1 off the corner. Big move for that 46 car. He's up to 11th. Oh, loose behind him is Ayers. That was nearly a wreck.
He's trying to get down to pit lane as he's going to go sideways in the pit lane. Collects it, though. I think he is under speed there, so safe and sound on the black flag. The 16 makes his first stop of the race here on lap 55. But I was going to say, if we had a Reese's move of the race, that was it right there from the 46 of Chase Berry. That was incredible to see that 2-for-1.
Yeah, he got it done there. It was a great move to the inside that was possible because he's done a great job of saving his tires. And, well, that's not a great move there for the 23 of Zachary Mitchell. He did what Ayers almost did and lost it into the pit lane. This is going to be kind of a story to follow here. Pit road entry, when the tires are the way they are, is going to be very, very treacherous. And if you're a driver like Zachary Mitchell who hit the entry barrel there, you might have some problems. He got a black flag too, so he's going to go laps down.
Yeah, that is speeding for sure. As there's the clip with the barrels that completely sends him sideways. I thought it was just a lockup, but, you know, luckily it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage on the right rear. He just barely tapped the nose to the wall, so should be a minimal time here for the 23 machine to get that damage repaired, but ultimately you still have to serve that black flag penalty. And there's a battle here with the 53 of French still having some connection issues. The 66 of Derek Smith down on the bottom trying to work around French. This is for the 8th position. Smith needs to work his way up closer to the top 5. Gets loose on the bottom, loses a position now to the 5 of Robert Brobst.
He is starting to struggle. And by the way, some of those cars I said we might see lapped are now getting lapped. Vest Phillips getting lapped along with Laura Wiseman as Rye Jones becomes the next car into the pits. First car out of your top 10 or so to come down. He will be joined by that 58 machine, that is going to be Justin Wilson there in the 58 coming in. I thought he was the 56, but that's Jacob Phillips. It is Justin Wilson into the 58. Brian Brobst will also join them, and so will Derek Smith. So a lot of cars coming down here. Everybody seemed to get into the pits fairly cleanly in this group.
Wonder how long Levi Cox and Braxton Louise are going to try to extend this run as they're going to continue coming down through turns 3 and 4. The 54 stays on the track one more time around. He evidently feels quite confident on this first set of tires. Might as well save the second set for the short run, I guess, at this point. If you're going to cut this race in half or beyond. As now we see the 28 of Chris Smith bringing it down pit road. Still a handful of cars actually deciding to stay out a little bit longer than everybody else. Maybe holding out for a caution here and extending the fuel run.
If I'm DeWeese, I would have tried the undercut by now. I think you've got to try something if you're that second place driver to make a move and pass Levi Cox. The undercut might not be the best long run strategy here if you're trying to get the win of the race for the 15 car, but you know, if you maybe pull the undercut, a caution comes out, you could get back out there. He won't get the chance to do it as Levi Cox enters the pits with the 14 of Tony Caputo wrecking in front of him. Issues for that car there as he comes into the pit lane. Let's see how that happened. Oh, he locked it up. Went sliding around. Didn't get a speed violation at least, so he won't have to deal with a black flag. Just a big loss of time. Levi Cox is in along with, it looks like, Johnny Rapp, Chris French, James Danforth, Evan Pienta, Paul Hahn. A lot of cars down pit road, and that means Braxton DeWeese, who's just coming in now, is going to be on the overcut. Interesting strategy call. If it runs green, it might work out for him here. If we get a caution, I don't think DeWeese will like that strategy.
And it's a battle right off of pit road. Tony Caputo doesn't want to give up the spot to Levi Cox. He wants to stay on the lead lap. Cox is going to back off here, let the 14 get out of pit road first. But now you got to get up to speed as Brian Brobst comes in screaming in the 11. He's going to send it down to the bottom, gets around the 54 here, but Levi Cox is going to find the speed once these tires get up to temperature, maybe even before then. Chase Berry holds the lead for the moment. Rob Liedl in second. Jacob Phillips rounds out the top three, and then it's your first car on fresh tires. Justin Wilson in the 58 holding down the fourth spot and closing up that gap rapidly, as I believe Berry, Liedl, and Phillips are all on pit road. The lead is handed over now to Justin Wilson for the first time tonight.
Yeah, I think that was about the end of the fuel run here. Justin Wilson did what Deweese could have done there, took that undercut strategy, undercut Levi Cox by 4 laps on that pit cycle, and with how much the tire fall off is here, that was enough to get Justin Wilson a 3-second gap once it all cycles around. Levi Cox is naturally going to be faster because he does have 4-lap fresher tires, and Justin Wilson seems to be saving a lot more than Levi Cox is at the present moment. But will he improve his position from where he was before? He came into this stop in third. Maybe he'll come out of it second with a 5.5 second lead over Deweese.
That would be ideal. So 54 still stuck behind some lap traffic. Tony Caputo finally high up on the track, lets the 54 get by on the bottom, and now Levi Cox can focus on just one more driver before he can chase down Justin Wilson. Zachary Mitchell will go to the high side, lets Cox by, and here we go. 1.8 seconds gap. Let's see how long it takes for Levi Cox to catch up to the 58 of Wilson. You can start it here on lap 69. Keep that countdown in your head.
I don't think it'll take too long because Wilson is very heavily saving at the present moment. He's running lap times about half a second slower. He never really used the maximum extent of those fresh tires. Instead, he really wants to save the rubber here for the latter part of the run. While in contrast, Levi Cox is going all out immediately. It's a difference in approach, but as the sun starts to come out on this racetrack for the first time tonight, maybe it'll be the right one for the 58 of Justin Wilson. Only time will tell. For now, Levi Cox is closing in like a shark with 50 to go.
Track surface temperature still right at that triple-digit mark, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not going to change much from what we saw at the beginning half of the race. Here to start lap 72, Justin Wilson is in view. That windshield of Levi Cox, that's all he has in mind. That white and purple Crown Royal machine. He needs to get around it. You want that clean air. You want to be able to put some lap traffic between you and your competitors. Now with Wilson saving his tires, how long can he fend off Levi Cox? Will it be enough to make it to the end of this 120 lap race?
We will see. I don't know how hard he's going to fight right now. He's not going to give the spot up, but Levi Cox does have a lot more speed at the moment. I think Wilson is going to do his best to defend, but if Cox pulls a move like he will down here into 3 and 4, oh, Wilson will cut the nose off that 54 car. A little more aggression than I was expecting out of Justin Wilson there. He's going to defend hard. He wants to hold this lead. I was thinking he might be a little more willing to let Levi through if he got a gap like that. No such thing happening. Justin Wilson wants to block him and hold him up.
Yeah, that's exactly... Oh! Contact made. Wilson gets completely sideways. He's going to drift it down through 3 and 4. Keeps it off the wall, back up the track. Oh, everybody else on the brakes. Chris Smith goes around, but he keeps it off of the 58. The yellow flag does come out. My Lord, that had the makings to be a big one if we had more cars coming around the track.
Man, he was fully sideways for about 5 seconds there. It looked like he was in a Formula Drift competition. He was trying to save it. It just was not happening.
Justin Wilson not going to be happy about that one, as he's going to lose positions and effectively lose the tires. That's going to burn a flat spot right in it, heat them up. I don't know if I think it's 3 pace laps that we'll have here are going to be enough to cool it down for the 58 machine.
I'd have to imagine he'll come down and he'll use that last set of tires here. I think that's likely the play for Justin Wilson. We'll get a replay here. This was door to door with Levi Cox for the lead of the race. Wilson saved a lot of tire. I think he was trying to make Levi Cox burn up his tires there, and it just didn't go well. Turned in a little bit early, and contact with the 54 sends him sideways. You can take a pretty good photo of that right there. It looked like he was in a drift competition.
I think if we take that back one more time, try to get a different camera angle here if we could, Mr. Producer Man. I want to see that and just see, was it Levi Cox just not quite there and sent it in too deep, or did Justin Wilson maybe turn in just a little too early? I think this will be a good view here as we should get just around the backside of the trucks. I don't know. I think Levi Cox was there just enough to say that could be his lane. Wilson might have just been a little bit early on that turn in.
Yeah, it's close. It's definitely close between those two cars right there. Man, Wilson tried so hard to hold on to that thing. Chris Smith also going to wear out those tires there, but doesn't take any damage, and he kept it straight. Neither of those cars are going to pit for new rubber, so they'll restart here from P2 and P3, respectively, as we get ready to go back green. And I think both of those cars are really going to hope that their tires have cooled down over the course of this caution lap, or else they could be in trouble here before too long. The best tires in the first two rows belong to Braxton DeWeese in fourth. Can he use them to make a run to the front? That is going to be the ultimate question here as we work our way down the back straightaway. With Levi Cox choosing the outside lane, Chris Smith second on the bottom. Justin Wilson also involved in that accident, goes from third. As mentioned, DeWeese is fourth. Ellis Thomas and Evan Pienta will make up your third row. Good drives for those two cars, with Chase Berry and Chris French 7th and 8th. Back in 10th, our first car who pit for 4 tires under that caution, Rye Jones. One spot behind him is Derek Smith. Couple different strategies being played right now, but with 43 to go, the pace car will pull off, and we're back green at Dover.
See a couple cars on the outside lane getting into the wall there out of turn 4 on the restart. You got to keep an eye on that tire spin. Even though you have fresh tires, it is that concrete surface. It can be a little bit more slick at times if you're not prepared for it. Look at this battle back here in the middle of the pack. Nearly 3 wide coming down the back stretch. Chris French finds himself right in the middle of it alongside Rye Jones. The battle just ahead of them. That's going to be Ellis Thomas. I believe Chase Berry is now. Thomas is getting passed by Rye Jones on the outside. French trying to keep up on the back bumper of the 8 machine. Derek Smith trying to use that top line speed right behind the 91. There we go to a diamond formation now. Looks like Blue Angels.
Well, those two cars you saw training on the top, Rye Jones and Derek Smith, are 2 cars who took 4 fresh tires on this caution, and they have really made those work. They're moving through the field in a hurry. Other cars on that same strategy include Johnny Rapp, Brandon Ayers, and Tony Caputo. Those are the drivers on the lead lap, working fresh sets of rubber, but the advantage is most pronounced for Jones and Smith, who have not only found their way back inside the top 10, but up to P6, as now DeWeese gets clear of Wilson for P2.
This is what the 15 needs. A little bit of ground to make up here to catch up to Levi Cox. Keep an eye on that 15. See what kind of a strategy he tries to play here. If he's just going to keep Justin Wilson behind for now, save the tires for the long run, or if he's going to set for an early attack here as the 55 looking to make some ground. Not quite there, but Evan Pienta trying to do something here. He's going to lose a spot to Derek Smith and goes back to the 7th position. Door-to-door battle right behind between Chris French and Johnny Rapp.
Ooh, almost contact there down into the corner between the 52 and the 53. for position. Rapp is trying to dice on those fresh tires. Speaking of dicing on the fresh tires, Rye Jones is already up to P4, and Derek Smith has followed behind him up to P5. If this race stays green, those two are going to have played this absolutely perfectly as they pass the 58 of Justin Wilson for third. If this race were to get a caution here within the next 10 or 20 laps, that's not going to be a very good strategy. When you're coming down for 4 fresh tires on that caution, you are playing a bet that it will go green to the end, and you'll hit it big if you win, but you'll strike it horrible if you lose. Right now, as we are staying green, the 91 and the 66 are in prime position.
Squirrely behind, Justin Wilson gets it collected back up. The 5th place car who we've seen at the head of this field, struggling now. Oh man, he's really coming off the corners with some speed in the rear tires, getting loose every single time now, under fire from Johnny Rapp. Chris Smith right behind Chris French as well, looking to take advantage of that inside line. Johnny Rapp gets by with ease. Man, yeah, I'm with you there, Sky. It's a risky call to take tires on that caution, but you know, you saw 70-plus green flag laps to start this race, so I think that's something you could bet on and feel pretty confident with.
I am not surprised that, yeah, Justin Wilson does it again. I'm not surprised that 2 slowest cars on the racetrack on lap 85, Wilson and Chris Smith, were the 2 cars who had those spins under that last caution and smoked their rubber. Wilson is going to try to nurse it, but I think with how big of a wreck he had and how much he used up those tires spinning, he really should have brought that thing down under that caution, because now he's around on the back straightaway. And that is not going to help those cars who pit like Jones and Smith.
Justin Wilson needs to pick up the speed here and get back around Braxton DeWeese before he catches up to that pace car. Come down for those fresh tires. Oh, yeah. Stay out. There you go. Okay. So now you get back around Braxton DeWeese and go get your tires. That's much needed at this point.
And all those cars who stayed out, and as you can see the contact here with Wilson, maybe a little net code there with Ellis Thomas, a little hard to tell, but whatever it was that sent him around coming out of 2.
Great job minimizing the damage, however, for the 58.
Oh.
Barely made contact with the wall, so we won't have to spend much extra time in there. Oh, we got some strategy being played now.
Levi Cox's pit, Braxton DeWeese has stayed out. There's your strategy call right there. That is going to be the difference between your top 2 cars. All of these drivers pitting now are going to have the same tire advantage that Rye Jones and Derek Smith did last time around, about 10 laps or so. And we saw how fast the 91 and the 66 were able to drive it up through the field. I am more concerned about Braxton DeWeese here, who is playing an even longer game on this strategy. I'd imagine if the caution comes out again, maybe on lap 100, 105, he would pit, but that is no guarantee in a race that has gone pretty green like this one. He, Evan Pienta, and James Danforth are the lead lap cars still on that strategy, along with Rob Liedl, who I think just got the lucky dog. So we'll see how that works out. Only time will tell. He is going to need a caution. If he gets a caution, he's in great shape. There's just no guarantee he'll get one. That's the gamble.
Cautions do breed cautions, especially at short tracks. 1 mile in length with the high banks, cold tires throughout half the field now. This one could get really spicy very quickly, Sky.
That it could, as we're going to get under 30 to go now. It's going to be frantic up at the front of this field to try to get yourself in better position and to try to get yourself potentially in race-winning position. Lights on the pace car are off. We'll go back green this time. And we are going to have a lot of different strategies up here. Obviously, you've got DeWeese in first, Pienta in 5th, and James Danforth in 7th. They have all not pit since that first green flag pit cycle, running on 26 to 28 lap old tires, respectively. You've then got Rye Jones, Johnny Rapp, Derek Smith, Brandon Ayers, and Tony Caputo. Second, third, fourth, sixth, and seventh, they all pit on that last caution. And then you got everyone on the lead lap from Chris French in 9th on back to Rob Liedl in 15th. They pit on this caution, and they're going to be on a whole different strategy as they try to drive their way up through the field. Clouds are descending over the racetrack once again. The track is getting a little cooler as the base car pulls back in. Deweese enters the restart zone. He's going to wait, and he goes now. Green flag is out at Dover.
Great jump from the top line. Braxton Deweese needed every single bit of that. Great thing to be in control of here in the late laps of the race. Here's the thing I was just thinking about, Sky. Braxton Deweese really needs another caution in about 15 laps. If he wants to take any advantage of putting fresh tires on the truck, he needs a good green flag run here to let these drivers wear down their tires, put some fresh rubber underneath the 15 truck, and try to make his way back up through the field. But that's going to be a whole lot of passing. I'm not too sure about this call. We'll see how it pays off. He's on the track. I'm up here. He makes those decisions for a reason. The battle is on, however. Levi Cox working his way through the field already, up to the 5th position now for the 54.
Yeah, while we were watching these battles up front, I saw Chris French pull a 3-wide move through the middle on Tony Caputo in another car, and he got past both of them. So these drivers on new tires can absolutely move. Levi Cox is showing that up at the front of the field as he drives his way up to 5th pretty quickly, and now he'll try to make a 3-wide move of his own, working on Derek Smith and Johnny Rapp all the way down on the bottom. We're side by side for the lead. We're 3 wide for 3rd. Rye Jones is your new leader, and as Johnny Rapp hits the fence, it might be Levi Cox in 2nd. 3 cars in 1 lap.
That was a sweet move coming from the 54 as Braxton Deweese gets a little bit sideways just behind, nearly gets into the door of Derek Smith there. Smith able to hold on to that inside line. He'll have the advantage through 1 and 2, and it's side by side for the lead. Levi Cox looking to overtake on the outside. He will get clear and dives it down across the nose of Rye Jones into turn 3, and Cox now able to have a runway to get away from the rest of the field. Stack up back here around Johnny Rapp. Chris French, maybe a little bit of contact there on the back bumper. Chase Berry dives it in the inside right behind Justin Wilson, stuck behind Brandon Ayers.
Chris French is in desperation mode to move up the field. He hasn't been able to get there, though. Side by side for 4th or 3rd, it's Chris Smith up the inside of Derek Smith. I think at this point I can say with certainty, Rye Jones and Derek Smith, barring an act of God, are not going to win this race. They've got worse tires than almost anybody up here. They're trying to hold on for points. Deweese still has that set left in the tank as he continues to fall back and nearly gets involved in an accident. Chris French might be done head on into the inside wall, and that car is destroyed.
You see that left front tire just flopping in that wheel well. That is a broken tie rod. That is the end of the night for the 53. Big hit to the inside wall after coming off of turn 2, 3 wide. Contact with Brandon Ayers sends him down the track. Ayers able to keep it off the wall. French, not the night that he wanted to finish with, but able to keep it off the track, coming back up a little bit down into turn 3. Almost gets into Johnny Rapp, but down into pit road goes the 53. He is now into his stall. Rye Jones able to keep Chris Smith at bay right now, holding off for that 2nd position. Smith takes it to the inside out of 2. Levi Cox about a 1/4 of a second gap right now, but Chris Smith coming in hot. The 28 takes away the inside line, gets right by, and Rye Jones might be at risk of losing it. Oh yeah, Ellis Thomas does get to the inside here, and he'll get clear of the 91 machine. There's your prediction of Rye Jones and Derek Smith struggling to keep it up here, but just holding on for points.
What a race for Ellis Thomas. He's 24th in points right now, trying to claim his first top 5 of the season. He's another driver like Johnny Rapp that's come alive in the second part of the season with top 10s at Talladega and Auto Club and a 12th at Portland. got some speed late in that 8 car, and if we stay green, he'll have a great strategy call in that 8 car as well that could get him up on the podium here tonight, as he continues to work with Chase Berry and Justin Wilson. Inside looks dominant, and Chase Berry had it. He'll get through for P3, and Wilson fights back for 4th. He's on this fresh tire strategy as well.
Here we go. This is the time frame that Braxton DeWeese would need a caution to make the best of some fresh tires. But we're pretty well spread out through the field. We've got a couple drivers within about 0.2 of a second of each other, but that is not enough. These tires are fresh enough, and these drivers have enough practice so far tonight. Over 100 laps now completed. It's going to be a very tall order for the 15 machine, as he's going to lose another position now. I believe that is the... Is that the 80 of Rob Liedl? Yes, it is.
This is going to be an insane race when it comes down to the point standings here, because Levi Cox is not only going to steal the lead away from Derek Smith if we stay green, he's going to steal the lead away by a lot. Derek Smith, who's led the championship for really almost this entire season, is going to be at a pretty significant disadvantage as we head down into the last few races. In fact, I think Derek Smith has been leading the championship since at least race 5 at Milwaukee Mile, maybe even race 4 at Kentucky. He's been great, he's been dominant, and he had about 5 straight races in there where he outpointed Levi Cox. But a bad night tonight, and Levi Cox winning last week at Auto Club has shaken that point standing all around. And as he is on the wrong strategy and rapidly moving backwards, I don't think he's going to finish higher than 7th here tonight, barring a caution.
And to add insult to injury, Levi Cox able to pick up 2 bonus points on the night, one for leading a lap and now another for leading the most laps of the race, as he has ticked off 87 laps led here, coming around to make it lap 88 of the led laps column. So big points night for Levi Cox. This will certainly put him in the lead if he can take home the win and keep Derek Smith back there in 7th. Remember, only 5 points separated them, and there's a decent points difference between 1st and 5th. So once you get out of that top 5, I think it drops off even more. So this could be a big night for the 54.
Move there for 3rd, Justin Wilson around Chase Berry for the last spot on the podium. We saw how hard he was struggling. In fact, he brought out the most recent caution there after spinning on some worn tires. In fact, I guess both of the cautions tonight have been Justin Wilson in that 58 car, but was able to charge through the field after taking tires on that last caution. We know that 58 car is always fast. And look at him, 11 to go. He's got it on the podium, right where he wants to be, over Chase Berry in 4th, and Ellis Thomas still trying to hold on for that first top 5 position of the season, sitting back in 5th.
It's interesting to see. Wilson has just right around 1.5 seconds here to catch up to Levi Cox. I almost wonder now that as he's up here in the top 3, if he can get a little bit of clean air, if he can get around Justin Wilson, we'll be able to make up that difference, possibly.
We will see, as we're now under 10 to go at the moment. Levi Cox looking for his 4th win of the season. Chris Smith had a bad time last time out, despite being our Daytona winner and having an amazing first part of the season. Had some bad weeks. Talladega, the Milwaukee Mile didn't quite go his way. He started to slip down the standings. 5th at Auto Club, 5th at Portland. Got a little bit better. 2nd place will certainly help him jump back up to where he wants to be in the point standings tonight. Evan Pienta, a driver who has had a slump here recently. He went 7 straight races with a top 10. He went 6 out of those 7 races in the top 5, and then he was 25th last week at Auto Club, and he is currently on threat of getting passed out of the top 10 here again tonight, with Rob Liedl and Braxton DeWeese behind him. So, not been a great night as the lap car of Laura Wiseman gets around him. That's a driver who is up there fighting for your championship lead and is slowly slipping the battle continues to narrow to just Levi Cox and Derek Smith going into Homestead.
You know, Evan Pienta not going to be out of the points picture, I don't think. You know, this is going to close it up between himself and Derek Smith just a touch. So it's, I don't know. It's very hard to say how next week is going to shake out. Right now, Evan Pienta needs to focus on holding on to this top 10 position. You know, you can lose one more to Rob Liedl, but I think that statistic of how many top 10 finishes he has shows exactly why he's up here in the runnings for the championship this season.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at his results this year, he's been consistent. He's had a second, he's had some thirds. Oh, big move there for Ellis Thomas as he catches up to Chase Berry. He's had a bunch of fourths as well, but he hasn't gotten it. Speaking of fourth, Chase Berry is loose out of the corner, and Ellis Thomas saved tires really well all night, and he's right back to the bumper of that 46. He's inside the bumper of that 46, and as Berry nails the wall, can Ellis Thomas make the move up the inside for P4 with 4 to go? It looks like he can, and pretty easily at that. If he can get the run off the corner, they're both loose, and that'll even them out back across the start-finish line. What a battle for fourth here with 3 to go.
That it is. Ellis Thomas finally gets around. He was all over that Intimidator button, throws the block down the backstretch. Chase Berry looked to the inside momentarily. Ellis Thomas going to hold it here on the bottom. I think that's going to be, oh, he gets loose through 3 and 4. This will allow Berry back to the outside, door to door down the front stretch into turn 1. It's not over yet for this fourth place position.
It is far, far, far from over for this fourth place position. And oh, another big loose moment for Berry. We almost had a caution there. We could have gone to overtime. Instead, we will stay green, and it'll be your top 3. Levi Cox in the lead, and this battle for fourth, taking the Whiplash Simcam's white flag. We'll get back to this battle here one more time around through 1 and 2, because this is mayhem. Ellis Thomas has the advantage. Berry is going to try the crossover. Ellis Thomas is loose. Berry is going to get the crossover. They'll go door to door for P4 as Levi Cox comes around. He'll win tonight at Dover, and it's all going down for fourth to the line. It's Chase Berry around the outside.
Levi Cox able to take it away with 2.3 seconds advantage over Chris Smith in the 28. And 3.2 seconds over Justin Wilson. But, man, I'm sorry, but the battle for fourth was just so competitive right there. And hearing calls from both of those drivers about how much fun that was to be a part of, it was just as much fun to watch that. But Levi Cox now going to bring it back down to the front stretch and sends it in a spiral across the checkered flag in celebration of win number 4.
Levi Cox will get win number 4. We'll let you listen to him burn it down.
Looks like he's going to go for the Polish lap here, Sky.
Looks like he will. We'll throw it down to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have results and interviews from Cox, Smith, and Wilson. Stay tuned.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wonder why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
We're back here for the Mythic Metals Mythic Monster 125. And as Levi Cox gets his 4th win of the year at Dover and takes the points lead with only 1 race to go, we'll show you the rest of the results through the field. Here tonight, it's Chris Smith in P2. Justin Wilson rounds out your podium. Chase Berry brings it home 4th, and a great run for Ellis Thomas. His first top 5 of the season puts him in 5th. Rye Jones will take 6th tonight. Derek Smith loses the points lead after holding it for about half the season. He'll come home 7th. Brandon Ayers 8th. Best finish of the year for Rob Liedel by a pretty good margin. Brings it home P9, and a great result tonight. Less great result for Evan Pienta, who finishes 10th.
And the back half of our field starts out with the 15 of Braxton Louise. Late race call to stay out on some older tires didn't end up paying off. Was certainly banking on that yellow flag to come out one more time, but only 2 on the night. The 88 of James Danforth stands out here in 12th, with the 14 of Tony Caputo in 13th. Johnny Rapp in the 52 takes home a 14th finishing position as our last car on the lead lap. Then we start out with Paul Hahn in the 7, 1 lap down, with Laura Wiseman in 16th in the 84 machine. Paul Thomas in the 42 takes home 17th. Steve Vest in the 60, 18th. The 56 of Jacob Phillips in 19th. And Brian Brobst in the 11 taking home 20th.
And then back from there, Zachary Mitchell will bring it home 21st, Robert Brobst 22nd, and Chris French in 23rd. We're going to pull your race winner into the booth here. That is the 54 car of Levi Cox, 4th win of the season. How does it feel?
Feels good. Feels like I needed it. To really have a good chance going into Homestead next week, so...
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that pitch strategy there, because the one you ended up on ultimately ended up being the winning one.
Yeah, I guess we come down about lap 65 and then got racing hard with Justin there. Closed in 2 seconds on him, and I don't know, 4 laps, something like that. And he was kind of chopping my nose a little bit, and then going down the back, it looked like he turned in just a hair quicker than I did and made some contact when I really didn't want that caution because I felt like we were in good shape. It looked like some guys went ahead and come in, grabbed their tires, and then it was our turn, and I guess a few guys were also waiting on another caution, so knew we had better tires than the guys that pitted previous, and definitely better tires than the guys who were waiting on a caution, so I was hoping that next caution was going to come within the next 5 laps or with about 5 to go, so they couldn't get back up there, and it worked out perfect. It never came back out.
You had dominant speed tonight. You led the most laps. You were out front for almost all of the race. How'd you pull that off?
Yeah. Dover is definitely one of my favorite tracks. I used to be really good at it, and for whatever reason, the past year I've kind of lost whatever it takes, and I got to run that ARCA race Monday, and I feel like I really found a good rhythm again there, so I'd say just definitely some good practice Monday led to some good results tonight.
All right, well, you're going to take over the points lead tonight with 1 race to go at Homestead. What have you got to do to hold on to this championship?
Just keep doing what we're doing. Clicking off good qualifying runs, good racing, and finishing up where we're at. I don't know exactly what the lead is, but hopefully it's more than maybe a point or 2, that way in case Derek qualifies on the pole. I'd like to be even come race time at least and give ourselves a legitimate chance, and we'll see where it shakes out.
Yeah, you're going to bring it home with a couple bonus points tonight. That'll certainly help, although they have not posted the exact point standings yet. Anyone you have to thank tonight?
Yeah, definitely you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's always fun to go back and watch. Big Fast Racing for letting me be a part of their team and just hanging out and always encouraging me. Number 1 Hero Cards, Mythic Metals, Duncan Water Systems, Overcut, Still Graphics and Designs, and the main sponsor on the truck, Cody Glenn Cox Music, on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify. And last but certainly not least, just the Lord Jesus for saving me, giving me life, and just allowing me to do something I enjoy.
All right, congrats on the 4th win of the season, Levi Cox.
Thanks, sir.
And we're now going to throw it over to Logan, who is going to be standing by with our 2nd place finisher tonight, the 28 of Chris Smith.
Yeah, we've got Chris Smith down here on the 2nd step of the podium. Relatively quiet night for you, Chris. However, we did see you get mixed up there with Justin Wilson on one of our cautions here. Walk me through that. What happened there? It didn't seem like anything intentional by any means, just good hard racing.
Yeah, I kind of came out there, and I was probably going to be where I was. I was probably going to finish 3rd or 4th if we went green to the end right there. Braxton had about 2 or 3 lap fresher tires than me coming up behind, so he was probably going to get me. But I saw Levi catching Justin, and I think there was a tire advantage there. And the way it happens, and y'all know how the banking is here, it's really hard to see far up there. And next thing I know, Justin is around, and the way that I at least have my brakes here, I've got the brakes dialed way down, and it looked like he was coming back up the hill, and so I kind of stabbed the brakes there to keep from running into him. And when I did, it just came right on around, and I had a quick moment to try to think about what I wanted to do right there, and I decided it's probably best if I don't hit the wall and lock them down and kill my tires here. And luckily we got a caution and it worked out for us.
That it did, and it couldn't have come at a better time for the 2018. Really, all 3 of our podium finishers here. But now we know you're doing a great job over on the Monday nights. Looking at the points here, you came into this race in the top 5, finishing now ahead of Rye Jones and Evan Pienta. Has potential to put you in the category for the top 3. Now, I'm not going to quite say it. I think you could kind of conclude where my thought process is going, but how are you feeling going into Homestead here, knowing that you're in that points battle?
Yeah, it's great to be in contention for it for sure. This was I was thinking this was going to be an off night probably for me. I'm not very good here typically, and this is probably one of my worst ovals on the service. And next week at Homestead is it's probably one of my better tracks. Probably my favorite track next week. So I'm cautiously optimistic going into it that we can have a pretty good result hopefully. And it'd be great to get as high of a points finish as we possibly can.
Well, we saw you take the top step to start the season. We'll see if you can take the top step to end the season. Chris Smith, congratulations. P2, the big bump in points going into the final race next week. Who do you have to thank, sir?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to you guys and everybody at Slingshot Racing Media for all their hard work here this season on the Spark series, as well as over in our broadcast on Thursday nights as well. Really appreciate everybody pitching in and everybody doing an awesome job on that. Give a shout out to my teammate Ellis, Paul and Steve as well. Ellis helped me out a lot. He had a great run tonight and had me covered on the long run for sure. And if it wouldn't have been for his help yesterday, I probably would have been out to lunch today. So shout out to him. Shout out to Johnny, Robert, Randy, all the league admins, all the league sponsors as well for their support, and shout out to my mom and dad at home if they're still watching.
Awesome. Well, again, congratulations. I'm with you. I feel like Randy's one of those guys that doesn't get enough shout outs here. Big shout out to Randy for running the race control week after week. Somebody who doesn't get just enough credit for what they do. Chris Smith, go celebrate with the rest of your team, buddy. We'll catch up with you next week for the championship race.
You got it. Y'all have a good one.
You too. That'll move us on to our 3rd and final podium finisher. Sky Streck is now standing by with the 58 of Justin Wilson.
Hey, Justin, how you doing?
I don't want to talk about it, man.
I was gonna say you had the incidents, but what did it take to kind of calm down after that and rally back up to the podium?
Honestly, I never got my temper up or nothing. I was pretty much calm the whole race. You got to be at this track. That's one thing I've learned, and it's probably what got me back up in the position I was. But it's just a bummer. I mean, we had some good close racing up front. I think I misjudged Levi and how close he was to me, and I was trying to kind of attack that corner a little bit because I knew he had the 4 or 5 lap pressure tires, so I didn't want him to just absolute pull away. But I knew if I could kind of keep him behind me, I could use that dirty air to my advantage. But didn't work out that way. And then after that, I had no choice but to kind of stay out, and I didn't realize, I guess I should have realized, but from spinning from turn 3 all the way to turn 4 would just nuke my rear tires, and it did, and it showed because I could not touch the throttle in that truck after that accident, and not hit the wall or spin out, and then I don't know what happened. We had a little bit of netcode there with the 8, nothing we could do there, but yeah, it was a very eventful race for the 58. But to come home in the podium, can't be too mad.
Oh, it definitely showed.
I couldn't do it. I was trying to take it easy, and it just the rear would just come right around, and when my tires were as bad as they were in that 10 or 15 laps that I ran than they were that 60 lap run that we did at the beginning of the race. So it was horrible.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of it here on the broadcast. It looked rough for you. You were at the back after that second caution. How'd you manage to drive it all the way back up through the field to P3?
Well, honestly, I'm not quite sure. I had a lot of damage on the car. Wasn't able to get it all fixed either. We had some right front damage, knocked the toe out a little bit, but surprisingly enough, it must have knocked it in the right direction for me. It was really tight, but it wasn't too bad to where I couldn't handle it. But driving through the field wasn't too bad. I was kind of just riding with Chase for a while there, letting him kind of just navigate us through there. Then kind of found a rhythm, but it definitely hurt on the long run with that toe damage because it just let Levi and kind of Chris just pull away from us. So like I said, I'm happy with a third place. I mean, wrecking twice. I guess I can't get no better than that.
All right, anyone you have to thank tonight?
Yeah, man, thank you guys. Slingshot Race Media put the show on. Spark for let me join tonight. I don't race much, but Dover was a track that I had kind of circled. I liked Dover. I'll thank Johnny, Randy, and Race Control. Chris Smith Ellis, of course, and all the guys. Chase Berry, I know Ryan Jones, Brandon Ayers was running with us tonight. Jacob Phillips, Johnny O. Rap, and yeah, pretty much everybody. That was a good, clean race, except for the 58 car.
All right, congrats on P3 tonight, Justin Wilson. And looking ahead a little bit to next week, it'll be our finale at Homestead. Logan, what are you looking forward to from that race?
I love Homestead. I'm with Chris Smith on it. It's one of my favorite tracks on the service. It's one of the first tracks I ever picked up a win in the official series, so I'm really excited. We've really ramped it up here in the late runnings of the schedule. Auto Club, fantastic, very few caution race. We followed up with Dover 2 times this week. We have seen low caution races at Dover, which is just outstanding. I'm loving the fact that this league is coming together to finish out this season strong. So Homestead, I have high hopes for you. Don't let me down, Miami.
All right, and you can see on that graphic there, we got a couple more races coming up for you as well. That has been the conclusion of the Mythic Metals Mythic Monster 125 here in the Mythic Metals Truck Series in the Spark Racing League. If you loved the broadcast tonight, make sure you are subscribing and liking to Slingshot Racing Media. Do a lot of good work here, and most importantly, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so about 55 more. If you subscribe, you can get us a little closer to that goal. For everybody behind the scenes at Spark and SRM, for Logan and Kobe up here in the booth with me, thanks for watching, and we will see you one more time next week at Homestead. Have a good night.